right, 25 minutes before 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. Nice looking day. Hope you're doing well. Hope your car is doing well. If your car breaks down, do you know how to fix it? I have a book that will help you. Now, the book is called Girls Auto Clinic Glove Box Guide. So, guys, you just have to cut the cover off and nobody will know. But there's a lot of information in here regardless of your gender. Patrice Banks wrote the book. If I'm ever in a car with Patrice and it breaks down, I'm going to let her take care of it. She's the founder of the Girls Auto Clinic. It's a repair shop / salon outside Philadelphia, and it's staffed by female mechanics. And Patrice herself is an engineer and an author, and I can't tell you a book that's been this practical for a very long time. Girls Auto Clinic Glove Box Guide. Maintain your ride. Think like a mechanic. Get down and dirty under the hood. Patrice Banks. Good morning, Patrice. Thank you for being on the show with us.
Good morning. Wow, I think I can die now. That was a wonderful introduction. I'm smiling ear to ear right now.
Well, I'll tell you this. You know way more about cars than I do. So I think the fact that it's for girls is. I'm just gonna not tell people I have the book. That's all.
No, I really was doing this for girls because I was a girl and I called myself an auto airhead. So I know how it felt to be very powerless as a woman in the situation when it comes to our cars. But the information in here, you're correct, is for everyone. Guys need to know this stuff too. They come to me, they come to our shop, they come to our workshop. So they're really excited about what we have.
Really? Well, you know what I think? Yeah. I think maybe part of the problem is that as guys, we like to be macho, so that if we fix your flat, we're not going to tell you where those little notches are. We're just going to find them. But if we're helping another guy fix the flat and we say, oh, let me show you right here. We will share that. There's a human thing where we kind of withhold the information from you ladies. So I apologize on behalf of all men.
Well, it's just been something that's a stereotype and cultural in general in America in a lot of places for men and women. And so now that we're kind of breaking these stereotypes and women are stepping up and making our contributions in areas that we typically weren't involved in because it was like, the men will do it and the ladies don't need to be involved. So it's something that's changing and I'm excited about it.
When my son was younger, I was outside under the car, and to be honest with you, I didn't know much about what I was doing, but I was doing the best I can because money was an issue in those days. And I said to him, he said to me, "How do you know which tool to use?" And I said, I really don't know. I'm just kind of winging it. And then I said to him, and I said to him, "But I'm going to tell you when you get older, I'm going to tell you what the best tool is to fix any problem." And he was all ears. He said, "What?" I said, "It's a platinum credit card. If you have one of them or a gold, that's the best tool."
Oh man, I thought you were going to say something really like noble, like your head.
Your head, yes. Well, that would be good too. That would be good too.
But platinum credit card works. Yeah, that works.
Oh my gosh! One time this is a true story. I was stuck on the interstate here, and I was stuck because I had a flat tire. And I just could not get the lug nut off, and the reason is because the lug nut wrenches they put in the cars are so short. I just didn't have enough leverage to get. And highway patrol pulled over. "Can I help you?" "Yeah, I can't move." "Oh, I can move it." And I'm thinking, no, you're not going to be able to move it. And sure enough, he couldn't move it either. It's just So what would you do? And I'll start with that one. What would you do?
Okay.
Yeah.
So I would go to my local hardware store, like a Home Depot or a Lowe's, and get a piece of pipe, the hollow pipe that you can slide over the lug nut wrench and make it longer, right? And that way it'll give you more leverage. And I actually have a video on YouTube that shows that I'm trying to get a lug nut off, and I'm stepping on it, and I can't get it off all of my weight. And then I slide on that piece of pipe to make the handle on the wrench longer, and I'm using like just one hand to push it down. It's going to give you that extra leverage you need, and it's something be like $10. Keep it in your trunk with the rest of your tools for changing your tire. But some people, like you said, platinum credit card, I get it. If you want to just call AAA and have that be your people, I understand too.
But the thing is this, that particular day, I had to call for help, and I did end up spending money I didn't have, and it would have been so much nicer to spend a little bit of money and be prepared than a lot of money after not being prepared. One of the things you talk about, I want you to talk about this a little bit. One of the things in the book you talk about is the cheap oil change. Tell me about that. That's so tempting, even for a guy. But why is that a bad idea?
Because shops don't make money off of oil changes. Because we have places that are the quick lube that do oil changes all day. They can buy oil in big bulk and they can make money off of it. But normally a shop that does everything loses money on oil changes. And so when they offer you a low price like that, it's kind of a lead loss. They're trying to get you in so they can upsell you and make money on a lot of other things. They're already losing money to get you in there. And so you have to keep in mind to not follow these gimmicks, because you're already bait going in there. If you're going to look for that oil change, that's cheaper. And they often don't use the best oil. They don't use the best filters, right? And so your oil is the lifeline of your engine. It's the most important thing that you can do for your car is to get your oil changed when it's due. And I have a whole chapter on this, which is really fun for women, and talking about that, because often we ignore our oil changes, or we go past them, or we get the cheap oil, right? And really, it's the most important thing you can do, because it's the most common maintenance task. And every time you're taking your car into the mechanic, it's like you're taking your body into a doctor. So you're taking it in to be checked out and to make sure everything's okay and nothing's going wrong, right? So that's why you want to avoid those types of things. Find your mechanic. I call your PCT, your primary care technician. Just like we have PCPs, find your mechanic and take your car there for everything, including oil changes, breakdowns. Tow it to that person. It'll make you just feel a lot better to know that you have someone you can trust working on your car.
I don't have any gloves at all in my glove compartment. The book, for the listeners, the book is perfect size for your glove compartment, and
yes.
Whether you are female or male, I think you will benefit from this at some point. Well, hopefully not. Hopefully your car won't ever break down. But every once in a while, there's something, and you look in that manual that comes with the car, and it usually doesn't tell you about anything.
Yeah, those manuals are confusing. That's why nobody reads them.
Yeah, well,
right?
It's a half-inch thick, and it's in 10 different languages. So the truth is, there's only 5 pages that are English, and it doesn't tell you anything. It doesn't tell you what kind of headlights. I don't even know how to change my headlight anymore.
Yeah. So one of the things that I talk about in the owner's manual is nobody reads it. I mean, this is why I made my book. I tried to make it as practical as possible. I want this to be useful. I want people to read it, not just have information to have it. But there is one section of the book that's really important, and that's your maintenance section. And a lot of days in these newer cars, it comes with its own little separate booklet. That maintenance schedule or maintenance section is your car's, schedule to get everything it needs to be done to get taken care of. And it's going to vary based on your make and model. So if I have a 2008 Kia Sorento, it's going to be different when I get my oil changed, when I get my brakes checked, when I get my belt changed, when I get my fluids flushed. That is going to be different than a 2015 Ford Explorer. Right? It's going to have a different schedule, and it's based on all Ford Explorers are going to have this schedule. And then if you have a Ford Fusion, it's going to have a different schedule. And so that's how you know when to take care of your car, and that's your best defense for the upsell. Because if they say, hey, you need this, you can look at your maintenance schedule and say, no, this is when I'm supposed to have these things done. Yeah, and I'm not at that miles yet.
I like that, yeah.
But what you also do with this book is that you have people, women, that's your target audience, believing in themselves. I mean, you've come through, you had a lot of history growing up, and you just broke all barriers. You just knew what your goal was. You put your sights on it, and you're very successful because of your self-motivation.
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, and I know that women are capable of doing incredible things when we believe in ourselves and we have that confidence. And that's what I wanted to encourage them to do. We know this, right? We deserve to have these better experiences. And we can be here and we can do this and we can help each other. That's what female empowerment is about. And, the future is female. So I'm thinking this is the perfect timing for something like this.
Yeah. Let me ask you, where are you? Where are you calling from?
I'm in Philly. I'm a Philly girl.
Oh, that's right. I think I knew that. All right, so we're in Florida. Is there anything that the climate, the heat or the cold, would make, in other words, would the rules be a little bit different for us here in Florida than they would be for you in Philly?
Not that much. The heat, not so much with the heat. The one thing that you should know is that there's some things that stress the car more in extreme heat, and you guys just have extreme heat for a little bit longer. So batteries don't like to start in the heat. That causes a lot of stress on the car, and but nothing that's like too extreme. They test cars in more extreme conditions than what we live in, and so really what you want to be prepared for is people that live in places where it snows a ton, right? And that's when you're like winterizing your car because of the snow, snow tires, things like that, or it's really extreme cold. Because the temperatures you get down there are the same we get up here, but just longer. We get cold, but not too cold where we need to do anything really special for our cars. Winterizing your car nowadays, like the technology in the cars, we don't need to do these types of things anymore because they're making these cars better and the parts better. And so really to winterize your car, what we would suggest is make sure that you have good brakes and good tires. The mud snow tires, they're called M&S or all season tires. Unless you live somewhere that gets feet of snow, you're going to know to get, snow tires. They know, they have to live that way. They know that stuff. But generally, wherever you live in the United States, it's going to be pretty similar with how we take care of our cars.
I have a question for you about the all-electric cars. Is there any maintenance at all with those? I don't even know what you do with those.
I don't either. I mean, and I know that these are really popular. Everyone's talking about the Tesla and electric cars, but they still make up like less than 0.5% of cars.
Oh,
and so we just don't
I have to
see
worry
them.
about.
I don't even know. Like I don't even really know how to work on them. They do require some things that are going to have maintenance, but it's not going to be a lot. They do have things that like tires, and they do have brakes, and they do have suspension parts that will wear. They still have mechanical parts on these cars, but they don't require that much maintenance, which is great, for people who want to buy these cars as they become more popular. Not great for me as a mechanic, but there'll be other ways that we can work on these cars and be in the industry.
I got an education about antifreeze because I thought I'd just go to the auto parts store and get a thing of antifreeze and stick it in my radiator, and then the guy asked me what kind I needed, and he rattled off like 3 or 4 different kinds. It's like, I don't know. So he looked at my car and he gave me the one that I needed and answered his own questions. I mean, I didn't realize that there were different types and how much you put in and everything like that. This was a very education for me.
Yeah, and typically, I tell people it's color-coded. Coolant is, and antifreeze and coolant, people use interchangeably, but it's not the same thing. Coolant is antifreeze plus water. So you have like 70-30 or 50-50. And so you're really putting coolant into your engine, whether it's the 70% antifreeze and water or the 50% antifreeze and water. But they come usually neon colors like green, pink, or orange. And so if you have neon green, put in neon green. If it's the neon pink, put in the neon pink. If you have neon orange, put in the neon orange. Don't mix the colors. And that's usually an easy way to tell which one is yours. If you're not sure, is check the color.
Well, I love the fact you're a colorful person and that you wear red heels. I just think that's awesome. I love a high-heeled woman, let me tell you.
Thank you. There's a great story with that if you guys want to know.
Yeah.
Of how the heels came about. So, I was in school at night, and I was working during the day as an engineer. And as an engineer, I was more in a management position, so I'd wear my blouse and slacks and heels. I forgot a change of clothes at night to work at school. And so I was not going to stop or miss a class. I was the only girl, and I wasn't going to let these guys learn more than me. So I worked in my heels, and I was underneath the car taking out a starter, and all you saw were my legs coming out in these heels. And someone took a picture, and I put it on social media, and it blew up. Everyone thought it was a great picture. So when I was thinking of the concept and how I was going to brand this, I thought that would be genius, and everybody loves it. Yeah,
it is genius.
And I regret it a little bit. I regretted a little bit my feet do.
Yeah, right.
But it works.
The book is very handy. I can see it being used for so many different things, from changing fuses to how to jumpstart a car. Even those rules have changed since I was a kid. The book is called Girls Auto Clinic Glove Box Guide. Maintain your ride, think like a mechanic, get down and dirty under the hood. It's written by our guest, Patrice Banks. And Patrice, you have generated some phone calls. You want to take them?
Sure, yes.
All right, let's go to the phones. Good morning. Thank you for calling. You're on the air with Patrice.
Thank you. Very good interview. do you think in the future we're going to see more women in the mechanical field? Like when you go to a garage, you'll be doing the mechanical work on your car. The reason I say that is, growing up in the 40s and 50s, there were no women doctors. It was almost unheard of. And now there is probably as many women doctors as men doctors. I'm just wondering if there's going to be as many women mechanics as men mechanics in the future.
That's a great question, and if everything works out how I believe with my company, I hope that we will. That's my goal, is to create more women in this industry, because we need to be making our contribution. Women are the number one customer. There's more women drivers now than men across all age groups. We influence up to 95% of the car buying decisions, and we also take our cars in for repairs more than men. And so here you have $200 billion a year that women spend on buying and repairing their cars, and nobody looks like her, thinks like her, talks like her. And so it's important that we are allowing women to really thrive, and not just join this industry, but thrive, and put them in positions of influence and power where they can be represented, where their number one customer can see them and they can be able to relate to her. I think that's one of the reasons we have women feel at such a disadvantage, is because there's not enough women. So I think we're going to see it as female empowerment is getting big right now, and women are learning that they can know about their cars. It is something for them.
Wow.
And when they see more of us doing it, you're going to see a lot more
Patrice,
women.
I can see it a broadcasting thing for you, like an auto repair show that you host. It would. I really do. Not only would it be informational, but it would change the landscape, because we men have a tendency. What's it called, Robin? Mansplaining.
Yes.
We like to mansplain, and I would love to be with you when somebody's trying to mansplain to you about a car. Because I would know you were holding back and just waiting to slug them with some information.
We do have fun. I don't like to pick on anybody, right? But we do have fun when we have those mansplaining times, which we do. And the girls I have at my shop are amazing. None of these women were working on cars when I I didn't even have to find them. They found me. Remember I said I couldn't find a female mechanics. I was going back to school to learn. And then here I say I'm going to open a shop with female mechanics. And I can't even find one. And when I was just out there talking about it, doing my workshops, teaching women, they came to me and they said, "We love what you're doing. This is a dream I've always had." I have so many women say, "I've always had this dream. I didn't know where to start. How can I help you?" They're out there. We just need to give them the opportunity.
And I do love the hair and nail salon aspect of it, because I mean, a woman can work any job, but they're still a woman at the end of the day when they have a significant other.
Yes. And that to me too was just, I love getting my nails done. I look forward to that. I don't look forward to getting my oil changed, right? So why not give me a reason to come in to get my car worked on? And now I'll look forward to it, right? Yay, I got to get my oil changed. All right, I'm going to get my nails done. Right?
What was we had a fad in our town for a little while. I don't know if it was across the country. It was nitrogen instead of air in tires. Tell me what your thoughts are on that, because I never really was sure about that.
Yeah, so nitrogen is supposed to be better because you're less likely to lose air, and it also doesn't absorb moisture as much as oxygen does. So it's supposed to be better for the wheels with rusting, and you won't have to be filling your tire with air as much. The only problem is you have to put nitrogen. You have to keep putting nitrogen in it, right? Or once you do get low in air, right, and you put the regular air, which is mostly oxygen and a mix of oxygen, hydrogen, and nitrogen, it's going to mix through, and then it's no longer relevant. So you have to find the place that has the nitrogen air, pay for it, and continue to do that. It's sometimes not worth it. It's sometimes not worth it. So,
I've only owned a few cars in my lifetime because I like driving them until they can't go anymore, like over 100,000 miles and whatever. But should I not wait till it's that long?
To what? To turn it in?
Yes. To trade it in?
No, absolutely. I mean, you should. I mean, cars are just getting started at 100,000 miles. They're new birth, their second life. But it's different now. Now, once they reach the 100,000 mile mark, you have to switch your thinking about how you take care of your car, because now you're going to have some big repairs coming up. Anything that could possibly fail in a car is going to fail, and you don't know when it's going to happen, and you have to expect this. So you want to start putting money aside for some big-time repairs like timing belts or struts, things like that are going to need to be replaced as the car wears on, tune-ups, things like that. But as long as you're doing this maintenance, the car will last 100,000 miles.
Nice.
The book is called Girls Auto Clinic Glove Box Guide. It's written by Patrice Banks. I have a copy if you want the copy that I have. We won't tell anybody if you're a man and you want the book. I can clearly see how this would be helpful for all of us because we all have car problems. And not, I mean, unless you're studying to be a mechanic, I mean, it's really understandable. We shouldn't know everything like this. In fact, I never knew not to top off the gas tank. Now I'm not going to do that anymore.
Oh, yes. I never knew that either. I
knew not to ride on E because I got stuck in a bad part of town one time. So that's.
These are all the mistakes that I made as an auto airhead. Trust me, I'm just teaching people what I did wrong. You know.
I just have a feeling you've never been an auto airhead. You probably always had some absorption of knowledge about a car. I just have a feeling.
No, I did not. I'm telling you, I would not change my oil. I would drive on tires so bald. I've had lights more than a Christmas tree on my dashboard. I was the worst. I was ashamed.
What are your thoughts on a standard versus automatic? Because I love standards. Are standards on their way out?
So yeah, they are. They're out already. You can't even get one now unless it's like specially ordered. And I have a secret to tell you. I cannot drive a standard.
Oh my god!
Because I was an auto airhead. I had never learned.
Neither can auto thieves.
Like, how can I be a mechanic? How can I be a mechanic? People are asking me. I said, I know. I wasn't. I have to learn. I was an auto airhead. So
yeah, but you've heard.
I do want to learn, but they're pretty much. I actually put a little survey of like the stick shift. Nobody knew what it was. Millennials don't even know what a stick shift is.
There's a man out there that would love to mansplain to you how to drive that stick shift. Do you know, there are stories, I'm sure you've heard some of them, where a car thief is foiled by the fact that it was a standard and he couldn't get it to go anywhere, so he got out. You've heard those stories, right?
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you for what you're doing, and thank you. You're a delight to be on the air with, so I think you'd be a natural to do a radio show of your own, answering questions. Patrice Banks, thank you.
Like a Car Talk 2.0.
Car Talk, yeah.
I love that.
GirlsAutoClinic.com, is that the website?
Yes, girlsautoclinic.com, at Girls Auto Clinic on all social media.
And I found it on Amazon, and I don't know if I'm the first to tell you or not, but it's #1 right now. Did you know that?
What? No, oh my God, are you kidding me? Oh my God.
No,
that's why my phone is ringing from New York. It's probably my publisher. Oh my God.
It is #1. All right, let me take a phone call. Good morning, you've got the book. Who's this?
Thank you, Carla.
Carla, all right, you know where we are, right, Carla?
Yes, I do.
Thank you, Carla.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Carla.
Patrice.
Oh, so happy.
Congratulations on everything, and thank you for being on the air with us. You're a great guest, and good luck with everything.
Thank you so much, guys.
All right, we will be right back.
If you or a loved one is suffering with knee, shoulder, neck, back pain, or tennis elbow and would like to learn how to get out of pain, go to Regenetic.com. Then listen in on the first and third Thursday at 10 a.m. to the people that give you the regenerative medical solutions to your pain.
Broadcasting from the Paddock Mall Studios, this is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages.
Fox News Radio, I'm Chris Foster. It's going to be a rough day into the night for Puerto Rico, getting pounded by Hurricane Maria right now.
Actual chunks of buildings coming off here, side walls, balconies, satellite towers, and this is probably the most fortified part of the capital. You can imagine what's happening throughout the countryside in this island of 3.5 million people, a U.S. territory. A lot of houses have zinc roofs. Those zinc roofs are flying all over the place across Puerto Rico. They are projectiles right now.
Fox's Steve Harrigan in San Juan. President Trump's meeting with other world leaders at the United Nations all day, here with Jordan's King Abdullah.
I just want to thank you for everything you've done in terms of the refugees and taking care of people that who knows what would have happened without you.
There are also meetings with the leaders of Egypt, Great Britain, and the Palestinian Authority. Fox News, we report, you decide.
As a small business owner, you're always on the go. So how can you make sure you never miss a customer's call? Grasshopper